Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Dazzling Debuts. I'm Donna Seaman, editor for adult books at Booklist, and very happy to be talking about children's books today. So before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical detail. Links to today's slide presentation and title lists were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom an hour ago. To download them, please open the email, scroll to the bottom, click on the link. You can also download the titles and title lists by typing the URLs on the screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble accessing these materials, contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience, that's you, is in listen-only mode, but we welcome your questions. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a button for Q&A. If you have a question or if you need technical assistance, click Q&A and type your message into the box. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions. We will pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the program. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click on the captions icon. It's on the toolbar. From there, you can select show or hide captions from the menu. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting caption settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be removed. All right, so what a great panel we have today. We have the pleasure of hearing from Terry Buzimato Greenberg, Vice President of Marketing and Publicity for Holiday House, Peachtree, and Pixel Plus Inc. We have Colette Perry, Marketing Design Associate from Charlesbridge, and author alert, Jumata Emill, author of The Black Queen, here to talk about his forthcoming novel in a very special presentation. First, we will hear from Terry Buzimato Greenberg. Terry is Vice President of Marketing and Publicity for Holiday House, Peachtree, and Pixel Plus Inc. She's involved in all aspects of children marketing, and the school and library worlds are what she's most passionate about. Terry has worked with many children's books luminary over the years, including Maurice Sendak, Gary Paulson, Patricia Riley Giff, and Jerry Pinkney. More recently, Terry has had the privilege of working with Nikki Grimes and Will Hillenbrand, and the debut authors Kate Albus and Crystal Maldonado. When she's not working on and reading children's books, you can find Terry combing through genealogical records, researching her family history, and her immigrant relatives who came to America from Calabria, Italy. Thanks for being here today, Terry.
Thank you so much, Donna. Hello, everyone. As you heard, I'm Terry Buzimato Greenberg from Holiday House, Peachtree, and Pixel and Ink, and I am delighted to join you today and to introduce you to our debut creators and their incredible new titles. Let's dive right in with our picture books, beginning with Prack Fills the House by Donna L. Washington. Now, you know Donna, but this book is illustrated by debut artist Lauren Emmons. In a hilarious retelling of The Three Little Pigs, a spirited pig becomes the star of the show as she outsmarts her older siblings. When Papa Pig offers his house to whichever of his children can fill it to the brim, no one expects Prack to win. But with a lot of creativity, Prack might just surprise them all. This Peachtree crowd pleaser is the perfect fractured fairy tale for read-alouds and family nights. Alongside the acclaimed author of Boo Stew, Lauren's artwork brings the text joyously to life with irresistible depictions of young readers' soon-to-be favorite little pigs. Journey into a land of magic in this feminist retelling of Indonesian folktales, lushly imagined by debut graphic novelist Clara and Casa. In this collection that received starred reviews from Booklist and the Hornbook, the girls are the ones with power. Why should girls in folktales always need saving? What if they save themselves instead? Based on Clark's favorite childhood stories, this retelling is filled with what the Hornbook praises as expressive art that transports readers through the rolling waves, flowing rivers, and lush forests that make up the 17,000 Indonesian islands. I Am Kavi is a dazzling debut novel in verse from an astonishing new talent who lived through war herself. It's 1998 in Colombo. The Sri Lankan civil war is raging, but everyday life must go on. Still, Kavi is afraid of something even scarier than the war. She fears that her friends will discover her secret, that she is not who she is pretending to be. Dushanti Panweer's masterful portrayal of a young heroine caught between two worlds earned a starred review from the Hornbook, which highlights the title as a moving coming-of-age story about understanding and embracing who you truly are. Literary and deeply heartfelt, Light Comes to Shadow Mountain is the debut middle grade from author-librarian Toni Buzzio, who's known for many outstanding picture books. Her newest speaks to family, friendship, and loss through the perspective of a girl eager for a literal electrified existence. As her government pushes to bring electricity to the mountains of southeastern Kentucky, Cora figures she can help spread the word by starting a school newspaper. But resistance to change isn't easy to overcome, especially when it starts at home. As a former librarian and writing teacher, Toni Buzzio uses her insider knowledge to build an emotional mother-daughter tale perfect for those looking for unique historical fiction. And continuing on with our exciting historical fiction lineup, we're pleased to introduce you to debut educator author Mindy Nichols Wendell and Light and Air, coming this January. While Hallie and her mother both come down with tuberculosis, they are shunned. Tucked away in the woods of upstate New York, the hospital is a closed and quiet place. But it is not, Hallie learns, a prison. Light and Air deals tenderly and insightfully with isolation and illness, offering a glimpse into a historical epidemic that has become more relatable than ever due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic. As Hallie and her mother battle a disease that once paralyzed the country, Mindy's debut delivers a profound message of strength, hope, and healing. Also, for your January release radar is The Selkie's Daughter, a richly imagined middle grade fantasy set in Nova Scotia. Although human on land, Bridget knows the truth. She is the daughter of a Selkie, and someone in her village is killing young seals. To protect her loved ones, Bridget must find a way to confront the great Selkie and protect the seals from harm. Debut author Linda Crota Brennan is an expert on Celtic mythology and, like her heroine, knows all the old songs and legends by heart. Fans of Harriet the Spy will rally around Annie Relihan's debut novel, Not the Worst Friend in the World, a drama-packed page-turner for your middle grade mystery collections. Lou wants to go back to the 9th day of 6th grade, the day before she fought with her best friend, Francie. Then the new girl, Cece Clark Duncan, passes Lou a mysterious note saying Cece believes she was kidnapped by her own father. If Lou can help Cece, maybe she can prove she's not the world's worst friend. Roll the dice. Growing pains and gameplay adventure abound in this new graphic novel series about a middle school Dungeons and Dragons club from Eisner and Harvey Award-winning cartoonist Scott Kurtz. Valeria Winters has an easier time finding trouble than making friends at her new school. As if by fate, she meets the Table Titans right away. Finally, Val has found a place where she belongs. So when the future of the club is threatened, Val makes it her personal quest to save the Table Titans, and she'll have to roll a natural 20 in charisma to keep her new friends together. Full of humor and heart, this gallivanting graphic novel is great fun. It's coming in March. Although Sandra W. Heaton is a debut author, her exquisite talent and heartfelt writing has been recognized by many. Warrior on the Mound will be published this March, but it was already awarded as CBWI's On the Verge Award for emerging writers from underrepresented groups and promises to be a truly impactful title. It's 1935. 12-year-old Cato wants nothing more than to play baseball. But when he and his teammates trespass on their town's whites-only baseball field for a practice, the resulting racial outrage burns like a brush fire through the entire community. And I had trespass in air quotes. Written in first person with Sandra's rich, thoughtful voice, Warrior on the Mound is about the experience of segregation, about the tinderbox environment of the pre-World War II South, about having a dream, about injustice, and finally, about dialogue. Colleen Oakes is a self-identified second favorite daughter with a fresh and relatable story to tell in her reader-grounded series starter, Sister Sabotage. Santana Barnes is tired of playing second fiddle to her ballet protege older sister. Casey Hammond is sick of her cute-as-a-button little sister who steals all of Dad's attention. When the girls meet in their middle school library, they create the Second Favorite Daughters Club to become their parents' favorite children by undermining their love-hoarding siblings. Publishers Weekly calls Khadijah Van Brakel's Fatima Takes the Cake a fierce, skillful, searing debut YA and contemporary romance. Fatima Tate wants to be a baker and enjoys some innocent flirting with her hot friend Rahim, but her strict Muslim parents would never approve of either. Then one day, her parents decide to arrange their marriage. Except as soon as the ring is on Fatima's finger, Rahim's charm transforms into control and manipulation. Fatima must find the inner strength to blaze her own trail by owning her body, her choices, and her future. This one is from Peachtree Teen. Plummet into a kill or be killed competition where a scrappy underdog, hellbent on revenge, must claw his way to the top in this thrilling YA fantasy debut from Mark J. Gregson. No period after the J, in case you were wondering. A middle school teacher who has a new series up his sleeve. The meritocracy is a harsh and unforgiving rule on the floating island of Homestead. And when Conrad's ailing mother is killed by monstrous gargantuans, he cuts a deal to save the only family he has left. Conrad had never known anything existed below the toxic black clouds of the Skylands until now. This is a true fantasy you won't want to miss. In a Kirkus-starred review, they call this YA a thrilling and brilliantly realized series opener. Readers will clamor for the next installment. Now, we'd like to share with you our exciting new titles from authors you already know and love, but who are now diving into new genres. Love Lisa Klein Ransom? So do we. Lisa is the Scott O'Dell Award-winning author of numerous picture books, as well as incredibly moving middle-grade historical fiction. You know, the Langston trilogy. Plus, she recently debuted in YA, and that's her For Lamb, which came out earlier this year. It received 4 starred reviews for its story of an interracial friendship between 2 teenage girls that goes tragically wrong in the Jim Crow South. Now we are thrilled to share with you Lisa's first debut novel in verse, a middle grade intergenerational title set in the 1800s that explores the history of the Black homesteader movement. Letty, her mother Sylvia, and young teacher Philomena are free from slavery, but they are still bound by poverty, patriarchal social structures, and they have little access to opportunity. With few supplies and even less money, the only thing that feels certain is danger. Will these women survive the hardships of their cross-country journey? Lisa's striking verse masterfully portrays this underrepresented historical era, tackling powerful themes of autonomy and Black self-emancipation. She offers readers an intimate look into the lives of these three women and an expansive portrait of generations striving for their promised freedom. And here are more of our exciting debuts in new categories. Newbery honoree and National Book Award finalist Polly Horvath, whose most recent middle grade is Pine Island Home, now brings her humor to a debut picture book, Not a Smiley Guy. And you see that there illustrated by Boris Kulikoff. Next is Nothing, John Cage and 4 feet, 33 inches. This is by middle grade author Nicholas Day, who also has a debut picture book, and he is paired with Caldecott medalist Chris Roshka to pay tribute to composer John Cage. Next, we have Ray Crawford's first I Like to Read, which is My Day with Dad. It's a level G title. It's perfect for a father-child rainy day. And then next we have Gaisalana Vikram Madden of Owl and Penguin fame. He now pairs rollicking rhyme with an adorable pup in his first children's graphic novel, Zuni Tales, Keep It Up, Plucky Pup. Kate Wheeler also digs into juvenile graphic fiction with Team Trash, a Books for a Better Earth starred read about a science project gone wrong. Skilled YA author Suzanne Supley breaks into middle grade with Sweetness All Around, a big-hearted story with a heroine who believes it's her destiny to solve a captivating mystery. Australian Ash Harrier makes her middle grade debut with The Deadly Daylight for fans of Netflix Wednesday and kids who love quirky characters. Clever humor and twisty clues abound in this cozy middle grade mystery. Hope Larson, whose recent book is the Eisner-winning middle grade Salt Magic, now tackles YA for the first time, with the witty Be That Way structured in journal form for fans of 90s culture and love triangles. And just before I wrap up, here are some of our fabulous spring and summer 2023 debuts that we want to be sure are on your shelves, so please check your collections. We have some JLG and starred picture books and I Like to Read titles. We, on the next slide, have graphic novels dealing sensitively with tough subjects like addiction and mental health, as in Kate Glasheen's Constellations. We've got some middle grade fiction here as well. We also have spellbinding queer romances with a side of the paranormal, as in Alex Crespo's St. Juniper's Folly and Cassandra Newbold's Things I'll Never Say. We are incredibly excited about our debuts and hope that after hearing a little bit about each of these new titles, you are too. Feel free to reach out with any questions using my email on the slide. I'd be happy to hear from you. A huge thank you to Booklist for hosting and to all of you for being here today. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, Terry. That was wonderful. Well, I'm very excited to now introduce Colette Perry. Colette has worked in marketing at Charlesbridge for 5 years. Born and raised in Portland, Oregon, she holds a bachelor's degree in communications and music from Simmons University. All right, Colette, you're on. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Donna. And thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. I'm excited to share 6 recent and upcoming Charlesbridge titles by debut authors with you today. We've got picture book fiction and nonfiction, and even a funny middle grade debut. Let's get started. First up is Babo by Astrid Kamalian with illustrations by Anayit Semerjan. An Armenian rug is a work of art, and Rug Washing Day is a smooth operation, mostly, in this fun and sunny celebration of working together and honoring cultural heritage. Today is Tato's favorite day of summer. She skips down to the courtyard to help her grandmother, Babo, roll out the rugs. The kids rinse and scrub and play in the suds, making sure every inch is clean. Everything goes according to plan until somebody lets out the chickens. Chaos ensues. But Tato's a big girl now, and she knows how to call the chickens back into the coop. Problem solved. Then it's back to the kitchen for a big slice of apricot pie and a hug from Babo, celebrating their hard work. This lighthearted story fills a critical gap in many bookshelves and explores the rich experiences of author Astrid Kamalyan's childhood summers in Yerevan, Armenia. Delicious flavors, tantalizing smells, and the sparkle of soap suds as Tato and her friends enjoy a favorite chore. Let's hear a little more from author Astrid Kamalyan and Charlesbridge editor Karen Boss.
Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Boss, and I'm a senior editor at Charlesbridge Publishing, and I am so thrilled to be here today with Astrid. Astrid, can you introduce the title of your book and your name and a little more about you?
Hi, everyone. I'm Astrid Kamalyan. I'm so excited to talk about my picture book today. It's Babo, A Tale of Armenian Rug Washing Day, coming out on September 19th, 2023.
So let's talk about the book. It's about a group of kids washing rugs. So can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to write a book about that?
It's a happy childhood memory, and I had a very happy childhood growing up in Armenia. I actually wrote the first draft on a very cold Chicago autumn day. All of a sudden, this very happy image of my childhood memories comes, me and my Babo and my siblings washing rugs together, and it was instant. I knew it. I need to write about it.
That's excellent. So the word babo means grandmother in the specific type of Armenian that you grew up speaking, right?
Yes, this is Artsakh dialect, and I am from Artsakh, and all my grandparents are, and my wonderful Babo, she would speak to us in Artsakh dialect. And for me, this dialect, it's how my happiness and delicious food and love sounds to me.
So can you talk about the joy in the book and how you think that this will resonate with kids around doing chores with family?
None of this we ever perceived as anything but play. I mean, we always thought, oh my God, rug washing, this is our favorite thing. Now, as I talk about the book with my community and I meet other Armenians, I have not met a single person who doesn't say, oh my God, rug washing was one of my favorite things to do. And we did so much work that could be perceived as work by grown-ups. For us, it was just play. A lot of things are just play for kids, and that's what makes it so fun for them and joyful and how they learn, actually. So Anahit, her illustrations are sunshine on a page. You open the book, the sun shines through it. I mean, just look at that. This is one of my very favorite spreads. I don't know how I got so blessed and lucky.
So one last question. What do you want kids and grown-ups, after they read your book, what do you want them to kind of come away with?
I want them first and foremost to experience the immense joy of being welcome in an Armenian family. I hope you check it out. It's called Babo, A Tale of Armenian Rug Washing Day, coming out in September 2023. I hope you get to really enjoy this very ancient tradition, and I hope it will be a little more tangible for you now.
Babo is on sale now. Warm family relationships also take center stage in our next title, Abuelita y yo hacemos flan, by Adriana Hernandez Bergstrom. Abuelita's arthritis makes it hard for her hands to close all the way. Anita is her best helper, usually. But on Abuelo's birthday, Anita makes a big mistake. She breaks Abuelita's special flan serving plate, the plato de cristal that she brought with her from Cuba long before Anita was born. Maybe nobody will notice if Anita cleans it up carefully and if she's a good helper while they make Abuelo's birthday flan. Of course, the truth eventually comes out. But Abuelo and Abuelita reassure Anita that no special plate is more special than she is. Unlike a plate, their Anita is irreplaceable. But how will they serve Abuelo's birthday flan? Let's listen to a special message from Adriana Hernandez Bergstrom.
Are you ready to make some flan? In Abuelita and I Make Flan, I was able to combine my love of baking, especially making flan, And I was able to use stories from my life and combine them with my imagination and imaginary events and create a new story. The story follows Anita, who wants to be her grandma's best helper. The characters of Abuelita and Abuelito are based on real people. And I even show you pictures at the end of the book. Anita really wants to be the best helper she can be for her Abuelita, but everything goes wrong, starting with the first thing that she does, which is she breaks her grandma's special serving plate. One of my favorite pictures from the book is this one, because it shows the joy that Abuelita and Anita have when they're working together. I hope you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed illustrating and writing it.
This Spanish language release of Abuelita and I Make Flan is a sweet celebration of cultural traditions, intergenerational bonds, and the power of forgiveness, available now for readers everywhere. Keeping on with the theme of strong and supportive family relationships, Our Roof is Blue by Sarah Echenike, illustrated by Ashley Vargas, is a touching tale of family, resiliency, and the power of play and story. Antonio tells his big sister vibrant bedtime stories every night. His voice weaves together incredible worlds for her to imagine. Then Hurricane Irma comes. The siblings huddle with their parents in a closet and hear the storm blow the roof right off their homes. Now they've got a blue tarp covering their home instead of a roof, and Antonio hasn't spoken a word since the storm. As their town rebuilds, the siblings begin to incorporate the blue roof into their games, as a parachute or the setting for a deep-sea adventure. The narrator keeps reminding her little brother that she's here for him and that she's still looking for his lost voice. And finally, when their family and community build a new roof for their home, Antonio begins to speak again. This book will resonate powerfully with families who prepare for natural disasters, which are growing ever more frequent as the global temperature rises. Our Roof is Blue is available now in Spanish and English. If your readers are ready for more eco-activism, they will be captivated by Stand as Tall as the Trees by Patricia Gualinga and Laura Rezao, illustrated by Vanessa Jaramillo. Patricia Gualinga grew up in Sarayaku, her Quechua village in the Amazon of Ecuador, hearing stories of the mystical Amasanga who protect the sacred forest. She traveled away from home for school and worked to spread her mother's traditional stories on the radio, until she heard terrible news from home. Companies were destroying her people's forests to look for oil. They claimed the government had sold Quechua land. They didn't care that the forest was alive or that Pati's Pueblo relied on its strength. All of Sarayaku came together and protested. They danced and drummed and marched, traveled the world, and found allies. At last, they defeated the oil companies, but their work was not done yet. Patricia and a delegation of her people presented their case to the International Court of Human Rights in Costa Rica to protect their sacred forest for generations to come, and they won. This moving autobiographical story reminds readers of the importance of standing up for your home. Stand as Tall as the Trees is available now in Spanish and English. I'm very excited to bring you a sneak peek at one of my favorite upcoming titles from the Charlesbridge list, I Heard, An American Journey by Jaha Nyla Avery, with illustrations by Steffi Walthall. A Black artist welcomes a crowd of children to visit her studio. Her visitors are stunned and amazed by the gorgeous art all around them, reflecting their own Black American history, from the beautiful shores of Africa, through the horrors of slavery and the Civil War, and the fierce protests of the Civil Rights Movement, to the milestones of the 21st century, Barack Obama's election, the Black Lives Matter protests, and the instatement of Supreme Court Justice Jackson. Filled with pride, the exuberant students work together to create their own art piece, celebrating their history and the dreams they hold for the future. Gorgeously illustrated and told in lyrical verse reminiscent of Black musical traditions from hymns to hip-hop, I Heard is an ode to centuries of history and a powerful message of hope for the future. I Heard is on sale April 16th, 2024. Our last title for you today is Captain Skidmark Dances with Destiny, a middle grade novel by Jennifer Irwin. Will is a Canadian 8th grader who hates hockey, and he stinks at it too. Will is bullied at school, doesn't have any friends, and is generally miserable. His 17-year-old hockey star cousin Alex is the cherry on the sundae. When he comes to stay with Will's family, the boys hate each other on sight. Then, Will stumbles into a local ballroom dance school and discovers that for the first time ever, he's good at something. But there is no way his dad will ever let him dance. Filled with humor, nuance, and emotion, this novel asks serious questions about what makes a family and what makes a man. I'm so excited to share this video from author Jennifer Irwin, telling us a bit more about what makes Captain Skidmark so special.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Irwin, the author of Captain Skidmark Dances with Destiny, and I'm here today to tell you a little bit about my book. Captain Skidmark Dances with Destiny is all about young Will Stone, a 13-year-old boy who lives in a hockey town with an ex-NHL hockey playing father. Everybody in his town loves hockey, his father loves hockey, but he hates it. Well, what he does love is ballroom dancing, he soon discovers. When Will's cousin Alex comes from Montreal to play hockey in Will's hometown, all kinds of trouble starts. Will hates Alex, Alex hates Will, but they soon find out that they have a whole lot more in common than they realized. But if I tell you any more, I'm going to ruin the story, so you're going to have to go out and get the book for yourself. So I'm a teacher, and I teach middle grade and high school, grades 8 through 10. And one of the things that I noticed for a long time was that the kids that played hockey in my class often didn't like to read. At the time, I looked around and couldn't really find a whole lot of hockey books out there for the right age group. And the ones that I did find were pretty hockey heavy and sometimes not appropriate, and they were often they were gloomy and mystery stories. And what I really wanted was a funny hockey book that would get my students interested in reading. And when I couldn't find them, I decided to write my own. And that's where Captain Skidmark was born. Before I wrote the book, I didn't know a whole lot about hockey, even though I grew up in a hockey town and I am a Canadian, which means by birthright I should know a lot about hockey, but I didn't. So what I had to do was ask around at my school, because my school had a ton of kids who played hockey and coaches who coached hockey, and just in general, a lot of people who knew a lot about the sport. So that's what I did. I asked teachers and kids. I even pulled them out of class, which they loved, to talk about hockey. And little by little, I realized that the game was a whole lot more fun than I realized. And it was amazing to watch. I actually got a chance to go to a Canadiens game. And I actually kind of fell in love with the sport a little bit. So who's my favorite hockey player? Of course, Sidney Crosby. I'm wearing his jersey. Can't see it very well, but it's right here. Sidney, if you're listening, I'm a married woman now, and I have children, so it's too late for us to get together in any meaningful way. But if you ever want to come over to my house and mow my lawn in a sleeveless t-shirt, I'd be more than happy to watch you while I sat on my porch drinking lemonade. Just putting that out there for you. So I think the main thing that I'd like people to take away, or one of the main things, is that everybody should have an opportunity to be the kind of person that they want to be and to do the sport or the activity that really fills their soul. I think a lot of times we feel pressure to act a certain way because we're a certain gender, or we have certain family expectations. And I just think that the best thing that we can do for kids, adults can do for kids, and kids can do for each other is let them be who they are and find a way to support them and love them. I think that's one of the biggest lessons in the book. This book has two main characters who are male, but the book really is for anybody. Anybody that's ever felt like they didn't fit in, anybody who's ever had pressure to be a certain way when they didn't want to be that way. It's got a little bit of romance in it, a lot of sports, a lot of dancing, and a lot of humor. And if you like fart jokes, there's a lot of those in there too. So I'd like everybody to pick up a copy because I really do think it speaks to every audience, and even adults. So one more time, the title of my book is Captain Skidmark Dances with Destiny. Pick up a copy today.
All right, Captain Skidmark Dances with Destiny is available now for middle grade readers. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at cperry@charlesbridge.com. You can find galleys, downloadables, video content, and more on our website at charlesbridge.com. Have a good afternoon.
All right, thank you so much, Colette. Videos were fun. And now we will hear from Jumata Emill. Jumata is a journalist who has covered crime and local politics in Mississippi and parts of Louisiana. He earned his BA in Mass Communications from Southern University and A&M College. He's a Pitch Wars alum and a member of the Crime Writers of Color. When he's not writing about murderous teens, he's watching and obsessively tweeting about every franchise of The Real Housewives. Jumata lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He is the author of The Black Queen and the forthcoming Wander in the Dark. What a thrill it is to have you with us today, Jumata.
Well, thank you. I'd like to begin by saying thank you to Booklist for giving me the opportunity to speak today about my journey to becoming an author and the passion that drives my storytelling. I also want to thank all of the librarians and educators tuning in for the vital work that y'all do each year to create safe spaces where children can expand their imaginations and learn about the lives and struggles of those outside of themselves through books. The risks some of you are taking in this current social climate to ensure this new generation of young minds still has access to stories from authors like me is instrumental to my desire to change hearts and open minds through my words. It was a librarian who planted the first seed to the roots of my storytelling journey. Her name was Mrs. Brown, and I met her in the 3rd grade. She introduced me to a series of books that featured precocious kids Mrs. Brown teased I shared a lot in common with because I was, in her words, a little too nosy and inquisitive for my own good. Those books were mostly mysteries about kid detectives named Encyclopedia Brown, Nancy Drew, and Frank and Joe Hardy. I devoured those books. They fed my budding love for whodunits, stories involving secrets and lies. It thrilled me, even at such a young age, to figure things out, pretending to be a young detective, just like those characters. But I quickly began to feel this longing. The stories at the time that featured Black kids as main characters were limited in scope and often only dealt with topics like identity, trauma, and struggle. Things that are a part of the Black identity in this country, but did little to do what the most important thing that I think books can do for young people, and that's allow them to dream bigger, inspire them to achieve more than they ever thought was possible, see themselves as the quote unquote smartest kids in the room, like the Encyclopedia Brown, Nancy Drew, and Hardy Boys series I was reading and what they did for white children. So I went to Mrs. Brown with a question. Where are the books like Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys, but with kids like me in them? Her face clouded for a few seconds, I'm guessing because she didn't want to give me a sobering truth about the world I was living in at such a young age. And then her mouth slowly curled into a heartwarming grin before she leaned over to be eye level with me when she said, "You haven't written them yet." Her words would haunt me in the best possible way for the rest of my life. You haven't written them yet. The statement served as a solution whenever my frustrations over the lack of diverse voices and perspectives in literature would surface over the years, fueling countless manuscripts, short stories, plays, ideas that I scribbled into notebooks or typed onto computers. Each one helping me hone my craft and pushing me closer and closer toward the dream I've had of becoming a published author since I was a little boy. Being the change I wanted and needed to see when I was a child, all because my elementary librarian thought the nosy, inquisitive little Black boy who was always hiding out in the library during recess because it was a safer space for the queer kid than the playground, could be the next great storyteller for another generation of children. It's why I choose to write for young people, wanting to make sure that when other queer, Black, or other marginalized kids like me went to their librarian asking for books with main characters who look like them across any genre, that they wouldn't have to be told to write them because they don't exist. Kids need books to understand the world, to figure out the ways to make it better, to learn perspectives and insight from those different from them, a way to strip away the bigotry and racism that still divides us today. And they need to see themselves reflected in everything, not just certain aspects of culture like sports or music. My contribution for now is through mysteries and thrillers, the genre that spoke to me as a little boy, a space where there still aren't enough marginalized voices, given that the American criminal justice system treats us very differently than it does white people. We deserve to be the heroes, the deliverers of justice and saviors for our communities in stories that ask the tough questions and seek answers through fun and sometimes dangerous amateur sleuthing. And that brings me to The Black Queen, my debut book. Many conversations that I've had over the last few years influenced this story. Conversations that confronted topics I didn't know the answers to. Therefore, I wanted to write a story that could spark discussions around those topics in the hopes of finding those answers through meaningful dialogue. I became a journalist because it was a way I could do the thing I love, writing, and pay the adult side bills until the rest of the world figured out what I knew all along, and that is that I should be writing books instead. When I was covering crime and local politics as a newspaper reporter in small towns, much like the fictitious one in The Black Queen, I met cops, lots of them. Some were Black. Most of those Black ones were the only Black faces within their entire police departments. During downtime at crime scenes, I struck up conversations with them. And in those off-the-record chats, I learned about the challenges and microaggressions those Black officers dealt with behind the blue line, and the criticisms they, and sometimes their families, also had to navigate through from the Black community because they chose to wear that badge. Their experiences shaped the struggles of my first point of view character, Duchess, and her father, and what they go through in that story. And then, in May of 2020, Derek Chauvin, a white Minneapolis police officer, murdered George Floyd, a Black man. And the topics of race and white privilege started dominating the conversations I was having with my white friends at the time. Like me, many of them were raised in the Deep South, but their family members were staunch supporters of former President Donald Trump, and a few of those friends even admitted to me that their parents and grandparents were outright racist, to which I asked, how did you avoid adopting those beliefs? What they said informed my second point of view character in this book, Tinsley's journey. And through her, I was able to do something I wasn't seeing other white writers do with their white characters in YA fiction. Having them confront the tough truths around white privilege and the continued harm that comes when people want to deny its existence. Floyd's murder also sparked a nationwide conversation about diversity. Private businesses, government agencies, and even the entertainment industry finally acknowledged the disparities and institutional racism that were so tightly interwoven into the fabric of this country. And in response, they adopted diversity initiatives to correct decades of excluding minorities. But is representation really liberation? With The Black Queen, I sought to craft a story that moves the needle some in those conversations, but through a page-turning thriller that still delivers the jaw-dropping twists mystery readers love. I really think this is a story that Mrs. Brown would have been proud of. Duchess is my Black version of Nancy Drew. And with my second novel, Wander in the Dark, that releases on January 30th, I pay tribute to my other favorite childhood sleuths, and that is the Hardy Boys. With this book, I set out to add something else to the young adult thriller and mystery space I rarely see, especially when I was a teenager. And that's a story centered around Black boys, one in which they aren't just the suspects of a crime, but also get to be the heroes who solve it as well. Black boys so rarely get to be the love interest or the heroes in children's books. Maybe if that happened more, the world might see us as more than just threats. Amir and Marcel, the estranged half-brothers who serve as the narrators of the story, are very special to me. Amir is a reflection of my younger self, who also shared a complicated, often tense relationship with his father. While Marcel embodies the confidence, sense of self, and emotional maturity I wasn't brave or vulnerable enough to have at his age. Through them, I wanted to revisit the toughest parts of my teen years and highlight the things about myself I used to be ashamed of. This story is about family too, how messy and beautiful relationships can be between brothers, fathers and sons, and mothers with their children. Bits and pieces of the anger Amir harbors for his father were akin to the things I once felt toward my own father, who I now share one of the most loving relationships with. The honesty and tears it took for me to get to a better place with my own dad, I tried to pour into the struggles the characters in this story have to confront. My hope is that not only will readers find this mystery thrilling and entertaining, but that it might also help young people better understand why adults don't always have the right answers. And parents realize that sometimes the greatest thing you can do for your children is to sacrifice whatever it takes to simply show up, even when your kids act like they don't need you. Amir and Marcel are my Southern, Black, modern-day twist on the Hardy Boys. My dream is that readers will fall in love with them as much as I did while writing this story. I'd like to again thank Booklist for this opportunity to share my backstory with you today. Understanding why books and writing are so important to me may explain why I'm so passionate about being an author. I just want children to have the things I longed for when I was their age, to live up to the call to action Mrs. Brown gave 9-year-old me, to put stories into the world that should exist because every child deserves to see themselves in literature. And I just want to thank you for having me again.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jumata. Thank you for sharing your story and talking about your books and supporting libraries and librarians. So appreciate it. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to Terry and Colette as well for their wonderful presentations. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, the title list, certificate of completion, and the video recording. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit us at booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past programs and register for upcoming ones, like those you see here. Between January 1st and August 31st, ALA's Office for Intellectual Freedom documented challenges to 1,915 unique titles, an increase of 20% from the same reporting period in 2022. Please join the fight to help protect the freedom to read by supporting Unite Against Book Bans campaign. Visit their website, uniteagainstbookbans.org, for resources, toolkits, merchandise, and to donate and to be part of the community. And remember, you can utilize Booklist to support your library's collection development choices with reviews backed by ALA. We have a special webinar subscription offered, and don't forget that your subscription dollars help ALA advocate on behalf of libraries, assisting those facing an unprecedented number of book challenges. Email us at info at booklistonline.com for more information. Attention booksellers, Booklist Reader showcases books your customers can purchase from your store today. In addition to sharing from your website, you can now distribute print copies to your visitors. Scan the QR code on the screen or visit our website in order to order copies for your store today. And of course, Booklist Reader is great for libraries too, showcases library holdings. And we have a special announcement introducing Booklist Book Club, a year-long partnership with your favorite publishers. Each month, Booklist will showcase book club picks and supporting materials from a different publisher. This offers a wide range of genres and age groups to fit the needs of any book discussion group. This month's sponsor, Macmillan Library, has tons of resources for your book group. To find out more information, scan the QR code on this slide or visit our website. All right. Thank you again for joining us for today's wonderful webinar. One more great big thank you to our panelists and to our sponsors, Holiday House, Charlesbridge, and Random House Children's Books. This concludes today's webinar. Stay well. See you next time.